Chair recognizes that the County Board of Education has established a quorum and calls the October 2nd, 2023 regular meeting to order. The Chair recognizes Mr. Nick Harvey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pray. The words spoken in this room tonight be beneficial to the students, parents, staff, and administrators in our school system. And may we be led by the guiding principle to always base our decisions on the best interests of our young people.
Harvey, I pledge
allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Mr. Britton Williams to present the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight, members of the board, it is my honor and privilege to present to you for your consideration and hopefully tonight's.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Is there a motion pertaining to the agenda?
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Smith. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Toss up. A second by Mr. Woods. I have a motion by Mr. Smith and a second by Mr. Woods to approve the board agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries 7-0. Agenda is set for tonight. As customary, we would like to recognize our elected officials, and we do have Mr. Preston Harris, County Commissioner, with us tonight. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I do have just a couple of comments. I will be brief. We want to continue to thank all Lenore County Public School employees for their outstanding dedication, commitment, and hard work to ensure that all Lenore County Public school students are successful as possible. We want to continue to commit to providing for a safe environment for all students, employees, and our community. And as always, Mr. Williams will share some more good news tonight about Lenore County Public School students and employees. And with that, Chair recognizes Mr. Williams to present the following honors, recognitions, and accomplishments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight, we recognize October as National Principal Recognition Month, and we have many activities planned, many recognition points planned for our principals this month, and we honor them this month and every month. But we have an outstanding group of principals, many of whom are here tonight, but National Principal Recognition Month when we pause and we just say thank you, and we recognize their efforts every day to lead schools and beyond the safety and well-being of our children, which is our first mission. After that, our instructional mission of doing all that we can for our kids every day. They do an outstanding job of that. We are so pleased and proud of what they do, pleased by their efforts, proud of them, and we're blessed to have them leading our schools every day. So thank you to our principals. I challenge everyone here tonight, approach your favorite principal and all the others and say how much you appreciate them and what they're doing for our kids and staff members every day. It's truly remarkable. October is also National Cancer Awareness Month. Some people in the room tonight have on pink, and during the month of October, a lot of our athletic and our clubs out in our schools will be recognizing breast cancer awareness and wearing that to wearing for research and hopefully to find a cure, and also to honor those who are struggling and have in the fight against cancer. Next is National School Lunch Week across America. We're very grateful for our child nutrition team led by Danielle Smith. It's our award-winning team, and as many of you know, and as we've announced at these board meetings, they've won many contests, especially over the last 4 years at the local, regional, state, and now national level. So we're very proud of our school nutrition team. So thank them when you see them, and preparing those meals and doing so much more, building relationships with our kids out in our school cafeterias and with our staff members. So we appreciate them. October is Hispanic Heritage Month. Our schools have many activities of commemoration planned and honor planned. October is National Bullying Prevention Month. Red Ribbon Week is the week of October the 23rd. Our schools will have a full range of activities to increase awareness, the importance of anti-bullying efforts. The Lenore County Fair begins this week. A lot of excitement around that. Many of our students will be out participating in the fair and the activities, and we encourage all of you to go out and to see our kids. Everything from art competitions to showing animals to just participating in and enjoying the fair and the local vendors and just riding rides and having a good time and communing as a large Lenore County community. So we thank the organizers of the fair. They sponsored our recent Education Foundation golf tournament. We appreciate that. All of those dollars go directly to our classrooms and the mini grants. So we appreciate the fair organizers and Mr. and Mrs. Adams and that committee out there and all that they're doing. So thank you very much to them and for all they're doing, and we'll see that this week. Tonight's my honor to recognize some of our staff members. Before we say that, we will have a digital learning presentation. North Lenore High School is here. I know they told me already that they're excited about presenting, so I think we'll be pleased. So welcome our students from North Lenore for that. But we're pleased to recognize two of our classroom teachers who've been singled out for awards. We're doubly pleased because both teachers are products of Lenore County Public Schools. Now, we met with Community College today about Grow Your Own initiatives and about our own form of Teaching Fellows program. We're really excited about that and keeping our students in Lenore County and giving them scholarship dollars and bringing them back to serve our kids here. Well, we have two examples of that tonight. People who've gone away to college, excelled in college, and they've chosen to come back here and serve in our school system. And we're very proud of them. First, we would like to recognize Ms. Crystal Bryant of Rochelle Middle School. Ms. Bryant has been honored by the North Carolina Science Teachers Association as District Science Teacher. She will be featured in an awards presentation at an NCAA event in Winston-Salem in November. A teacher for 24 years, Ms. Bryant has taught science at Rochelle Middle School for 21 years, and during that time she's distinguished herself as an innovator and a creator of engaging lessons. A graduate of Kinston High School, she has served LCPS and Kinston High School as a track coach and athletics trainer. Congratulations to Ms. Crystal Bryant on this well-deserved award. Ms. Bryant, would you come forward? Ms. Bryant always goes away for recognition. She knows just what I do and everything. I gotta tell this one on you. If you go over to Rochelle on the first day of school, Miss Bryant has told me that she can get her kids on task faster than any teacher in the building. I do believe that's true. Mr. Harvey, Miss Harry, and I, we were coming around the corner and we heard something, and I said, "What in the world?" And we were walking by, and she was expressing her love and affection for rules and for doing the right thing and making good decisions and all that. I'm just kidding. I'm picking on her. Now she was getting down with it on the rules and everything, but she had that class. She had the class on task very quickly, and her scores are always outstanding. She leads the school and she leads the county in many cases. And it's not about a test score; it's about the impact on children. That's that year in and year out, both in the classroom and on the field of athletics. This lady, I have complete respect for her. She represents everything that a teacher would be. Ms. Bryant, would you like to say anything about the state award and what it means to you?
I'm very grateful and appreciative. Ms. Carlisle, Ms. Food, thank you for the presentation, and I'm so glad to represent our district.
Outstanding. So do you know what the next level of this competition
I
is?
do not. I go to Winston-Salem November 2nd and 3rd.
Okay. Is that Winston-Salem State? You love that. Congratulations. Just a few years ago, Miss Gabby Register graduated Lenore County Early College High School. It seems like 5 minutes ago, truly. Today, she is a 4th grade teacher at Moss Hill Elementary School, and last week, Ms. Register was nominated for and won last week. She won the 2023-2024 LCPS Beginning Teacher of the Year Award. The award, open to teachers in their 2nd year of service, qualifies Ms. Register to compete on the regional and state level in a program supervised by the North Carolina Center for the Advancement of or NCAP. In her time at Moss Hill Elementary, Ms. Register has become known for her dedication to the success of her students and her willingness to work in a team environment. Congratulations to Ms. Register on becoming our Beginning Teacher of the Year, and best wishes as she moves in the selection process to the next level. Ms. Register, if you come forward. Ms. Register, you want to tell us what year you graduated? This number will show you what year, because it seems how quickly things are happening now. What year you graduated Early College High School?
Year 2019.
She graduated Early College High School in 2019. This is her 2nd year of teaching. So moving on. But she's doing an outstanding job out there. Talked with Ms. Harris, her mentor, talked with Ms. Burnett, her principal, and others. She's just doing an amazing heart for children. We asked her, what would you say to your colleagues? And you know what her first statement was? To stay positive. That there's so much in this business that can make you not positive. To stay positive, whatever you do. And I just thought that was powerful. But we asked her children when they were gathered around. You know, sometimes kids, they'll say anything. But we asked her children, do you know that your teacher's great? How do you know? And all of them, yes. They were so excited. So that's really, to me, a mark of distinction when your children not only know it, but are willing to say it. So congratulations to you. About what this award means to you?
We all know it takes a village to raise a child, and it definitely takes a village to teach a child. So this credit is going to go to my Moss Hill family. Love you guys bunches. I would not get any of this if it was not for them leading the way and showing me how it's done. So thank you guys.
Your accelerated pathway too. You are somewhat of a great example of that accelerated. Because we've heard people say over the years, well, to go early college high school, to go through out there, to go through so quickly, carry all those units with you. And then you can do that in all of our high schools. But to carry all of those units with you and then to accelerate your pace in college, people say, well, you missed this, you missed that. But from where I'm standing, it doesn't look like you missed anything. It looks like you're giving so much to your community. And we're very grateful for you.
Thank you.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
She did say that her early college principal was a little bit suspicious. That's right. Mr. Harvey was the principal. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Any questions for Mr. Williams? Any comment? Okay, I'm gonna say it again, still examples of amazing things that are happening in the Lenore County Public School System. Ms. Taylor, is anyone signed up for public comment? Thank you, ma'am. All right, we will now move to the presentation portion of the agenda. Chair recognizes Mrs. Melissa Lynch to present a digital learning showcase. Along with some help.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It is my pleasure tonight to have North Lenore High School here, and I'm going to introduce their digital learning specialist, Ms. Rebecca Hawkins. And she will introduce her people, or they will introduce themselves, but extremely happy to have them here to showcase some of the creations they've already put in place in just 4 weeks of school.
And this school is one of our 12 schools that will be recognized in November with the national recognition.
That's right. All right, so I'm Rebecca Hawkins, a DLS at North Lenore High School, and we had the privilege of the third week of school this semester having Nancy Konitsky from Apple coming to work with us and our staff. And together, Nancy and I planned with several teachers, and so tonight we're just bringing a couple of those teachers and students here to showcase what we worked on.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Ms. Baker. Students in interior design fundamentals research various careers in the housing and design field. To incorporate global awareness, students researched the World Trade Center in New York City. Who was the architect of the design? Excuse me. Okay. His name is Minoru Yamasaki. He was one of the most architects of the 20th century. Students researched all of his structures and created an architectural journal. The tools used were an Apple Pencil, Keynote animation, and voice recorder. Here is one of my students to share more.
Good afternoon, you guys. Hey, my name is Elena Wilson. I'm a senior at North High School. My teacher, Ms. Baker, was kind enough to put together a keynote for us, an activity. And in it, she had us pick our favorite image from Mr. Yamasaki's collection of incredible architectural designs. And we went through, picked our favorite, sketched it out, and created a time lapse of everything that we created and strokes and everything. It's actually really cool. It'll play on the screen. And then later on, she had us put together a voiceover of all of our favorite aspects and everything of the buildings. And honestly, I really enjoyed the whole experience of it.
The buildings around it. I find its abstract architectural foundation very visually. Its height and its symmetrical bottom really balance each other out. And I also like the surrounding buildings around it. I think they all really complement each other.
Good evening, you guys. Good evening. I'm Ashley Holland. I'm a social studies teacher at North Lenore High School. And I have two students here tonight from my economics and personal finance class who are going to be sharing with you what we created or what they created. The topic was macro and microeconomics, which, let's be honest, is a little difficult to make exciting and memorable sometimes. Yeah. And so what I did is I provided a list of important macro and micro terms, and then I kind of let them loose to either a meme or an animation that would help them remember what those terms mean. And I'm going to turn it over to them and let them show you what they did.
Hi, my name is Imagine, and I'm in Mrs. Holland's class. In our project, Micro and Macroeconomics, we use chosen definitions from the unit to create unique meanings. I use the definitions price, unemployment, price levels, and cost of production to create my project.
Zion Wiggins, and I worked on the Negro versus project. We used Keynote to create the project. Apple pencils were given to us in class. We were able to draw and trace images on our iPads, and we were taught how to put borders around pictures and animate drawings.
Miss Casey could not be here with us tonight, but her foods, it's actually foods too. Her foods too class was going through the serve safe requirements, and so she had the students create a visual image of some of the requirements that serve safe.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Ashley Momaka, and today I will be explaining what I did. We were given a task to draw ourselves as a good and bad chef. We used Keynote to import a picture of ourselves. Then we used an Apple Pencil to draw ourselves as a good and bad chef. When we were done drawing our chefs, we did a voiceover explaining our good and bad chef.
The chef on the right that is wearing the flag is a good chef. Is a clean chef because she has a clean apron, jewelry on, hair's back and covered. And then the one on the left, she is the bad chef because she has long nails, a dirty stained apron, hair accessories, and face accessories.
And that's it. Thank you for your time. Are there any questions?
I just wish I had somebody to make macro and micro that exciting when I did.
So Elena, Imagine, Zion, Ashley, and Ms. Holland, and Ms. Baker, congratulations and thank you. We appreciate what you're doing, not just with this presentation, but every day in the classroom. We appreciate y'all and thank you for what you're doing.
Any questions for anybody? All right, any comments? All right, thank you, Mrs. Lynch, Mrs. Hawkins, Mrs. Baker, Mrs. Holland, and all the students. An outstanding job. And more examples of how digital learning has supported our students in being successful. The chair recognizes Mrs. Frances Herring to present the NC STAR School Improvement Plans for the 2023-2024 school year.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'll be presenting the school improvement plans for you tonight. You have uploaded in board docs an executive session drafted by each school summarizing their school improvement plan, and you have the actual plan as it is in the NC STAR platform. If at any time over the course of the next month you have any questions about any of the plans, please don't hesitate to reach out. Just for your reference, each school improvement plan in NC STAR is measured by dimensions and then indicators. Dimension A is for instructional excellence and alignment. Dimension B is leadership capacity. Dimension C is professional capacity. Dimension D is planning and operational effectiveness. And Dimension E is families and communities. Within each dimension are multiple indicators, anywhere up to 10 separate indicators. So you will see schools select different indicators within each dimension. Each school improvement team works together to identify the indicators most relevant to their school's individual needs. I want to begin by highlighting many of the consistent efforts made across schools and grade levels to address student achievement that can be found in nearly all school improvement plans, and I'd like to take a moment to share those with you. First of all of our principals create and disseminate a weekly newsletter to their staff. These newsletters incorporate a focus on instruction and leadership, in addition to expectations ranging from lesson planning to morning and afternoon duty stations. Newsletters are comprehensive and provide a consistent message to all staff members at each site. The district supports the multi-tiered system of support, or MTSS, process at all schools. A monthly meeting is held at every school to review the students who are not performing on grade level, and the MTSS teams are creating evidence-based interventions to be implemented in the classroom with each student to determine how best to meet their needs and identify gaps in standards mastery, behavior, attendance, or even health. At the beginning, middle, and end of every year, we administer a no-stakes universal screener in reading and math called NWEA MAPS. It stands for the Northwest Educational Assessment Measures of Academic Progress. MAPS is nationally normed and is used to help us measure students' growth, progress and growth. The Department of Public Instruction requires that every PSU use a universal screener in reading and math. We use this data to identify students' strengths and areas for improvement, which then allows us to adjust instruction accordingly. That is just one piece of information used in what you'll find throughout all of the school improvement plans is required in professional learning communities, also known as PLCs, at the district level on a weekly basis. PLCs focus on common formative assessments, MAPS data, DIBELS data as it applies to individual students and subgroups to plan and measure growth and achievement. We don't know what to aim for if we don't know what the target is, and we target during our data collection and analysis in professional learning communities. Every school will mention the extra layer of support that our interventionist program provides. It is in the PLC meetings that students are identified additional support and retired educators support with retired educators. They may work individually in a pull-out group or targeted support in a push-in support platform. Our end-of-year collection of data measuring the impact of the interventionist program last year showed that overwhelmingly students who were served by an interventionist made measurable progress above the typical growth of students across the nation. The schools will all mention the implementation of a core curriculum in reading and math, kindergarten through 12th grade. Our MTSS data over the last several years has indicated a strong need for a consistent core curriculum to meet the needs of all Tier 1 students. It's only with a strong core curriculum in place can the foundation be laid to support teaching and learning in the classroom. You have done that for us, and we are thankful for your leadership and willingness to invest in the resources needed in the classroom. Many schools will include a focus on mastery-based grading that will permit students multiple opportunities to demonstrate that they have actually mastered the standards being taught. Grading is critical in measuring where a student is in the exact moment of learning, and requiring students to prove their understanding of a standard prevents students from being left behind while classmates are moving ahead. It's imperative the students take ownership of their learning while we create an environment where students want to chase learning and not necessarily chase a grade. Each school improvement mentioned the requirement to provide lesson plans that are based on the North Carolina course of study. Administrators understand that you have to inspect what you expect and are required to review lesson plans and ensure they are aligned with the core curriculum and standards that are being implemented as written. Something we've noticed ever since the pandemic has been inconsistency in attendance by both teachers and students. Schools will reference overall focus to improve attendance by offering incentives to stakeholders to understand the impact of attendance on learning. Parent and community communication are both critical to a successful school and school system. There are enhanced efforts to promote two-way communication with families, coupled with an expectation of scheduled conferences. In anticipation of next year's calendar, there is discussion holding in time to dedicate specifically for parent conferences. You will also see a continued focus on teacher retention and recruitment, and doing that with a robust beginning teacher support program at both the district and school levels. Again, if you have any questions as you're reading and reviewing the school improvement plans over the course of the next month, please don't hesitate to reach out with your questions. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Questions from me? All right, thank you, Mrs. Herring. Any comments? All right. As Mrs. Herring said, school improvement plans will be presented next month for board approval, and if you do have any questions during the month, please contact Mrs. Herring. Chair recognizes Mr. Nick Harvey to present an overview and update of ongoing Lenore County Public School operations, projects, and initiatives.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, board members. Tonight, we'll be providing the board an update on several ongoing LCPS projects and also provide a report regarding the loss of electricity at South Lenore High School. As you all are aware, South Lenore lost electrical current in over 50% of its campus at some point during the wind and rain caused by Tropical Storm Ophelia last month. Our LCPS maintenance leadership team determined that the bus duct that fed the main switchgear failed during this weather event. Pico Electric, one of our local vendors, was immediately called and was on site within a half hour on Sunday afternoon, the 24th of September. It was determined that we had to remove all of the damaged electrical bus duct between Duke Energy's pad mount transformer and our switchgear. Pico also had to mount existing bus duct termination box to be reused as a pull box for the new wire feed to the switch gear. They had to knock out some of the brick and block wall of the electrical room and cut a hole into the side of the existing switch gear so they could gain access to the bus bars and the switch gear. This plan of action was the most responsive manner in which to ensure that the students could return to school as quickly as possible. After early estimations of nearly a week or two out of school, students and staff returned to South Lenore on Thursday, September 27th, after only 2 remote learning days. The cost of this project for parts and labor is approximately $15,000, with another $1,200 lost in our child nutrition department. An insurance claim with the Department of Public Instruction has been submitted.
And we have received assurance that, that we will have full coverage minus our deductible.
All right. Pink Hill. As you may recall, money has been allotted by the North Carolina General Assembly to address the parking and carpool issues at Pink Hill Elementary. Our management partners are currently working on preparing a drive permit that will be submitted for DPI for review. Estimated approximately a 3-week time period for approvals and 2 weeks for the bidding process. Once approved, the clearing of the land can commence and they will begin paving and striping as soon as the weather breaks in early spring. Board members, if you can see, there's a drawing overlay of the existing property that shows the entrance and the new parking area directly in front of the school.
That'll be just beyond, for your reference, just beyond the footbridge. Now as you're pulling up to the school and you're pulling around in front of it, just beyond the bridge, you see extending across there, the walking bridge. It'll be an opened, a driveway open into the park area over there, and it'll be a light parking area, and then you'll have your auxiliary entrance and exit.
Teacher Memorial. TMS is still in the upset bid phase. Our latest bid cycle ended on Thursday, September 28th. The offer to purchase currently is in the of $170,000. That's a $30,000 increase in our last meeting on September 11th. The next upset bid cycle ends October 9th, 2023 at 4 p.m. The newest lowest acceptable upset bid is $178,550. We'll update the board as this process continues. Rochelle Middle School and Southeast roofing projects. Our ESSER roofing projects are underway. DPI has approved our engineering plan for Southeast Elementary and Rochelle Middle. REI has followed the procurement process of publicly submitting RFQs and has selected a contractor for these 2 schools. Our remaining projects RFQs will be sent out over the next several days. We will update the board as those projects come online as well. And they told me that Banks and North Lenore will be next, followed by South Lenore and Moss Hill. So that's a projected timeline. So we will update you as those projects come online. State School Bus Inspection Month. DPI field consultants began their annual state school bus inspections today, October 2nd. Each year, field consultants perform an inspection of approximately 10% of our school bus fleet as well as some buses. This inspection is the same inspection that all public school units are required to perform every 30 days on all of its buses, per general statute. We look forward to receiving a great report from our inspectors.
I don't think most people realize that our fleet of 141 buses, they all have to be inspected once per month. Just like your car inspection once per year, that has to happen once every month. And then DPI, as he said, comes in for 10% of the fleet once per year. And that's a minimum. They can come in for more than that. But we're very proud of the ratings we've had so far. And we have had buses parked over the years, because that's what you do. They park the bus and then you remediate you mitigate and correct the problem, and then it can be back on the road after it's inspected. So very proud of that.
And finally for me, it's homecoming week. We have entered week 7 of our fall sports competition. It's homecoming in all 3 of our high schools. This is the first time that I can remember that all of our schools are celebrating homecoming on the same night. We would like to say welcome home to all of our alumni and friends that will be in town to support our student athletes. And that concludes my report.
Mr. Harvey and Ms. Herring, I will be changing on the way from school to school to go. We have three different logos on that night.
And any questions for Mr. Harvey on any of those projects?
Just one.
Mr. Smith?
How much is our deductible?
So for wind, it is $5,000.
It is
I
$5,000.
think for flooding, it's $10,000. So we are anticipating that this may be a wind event that resulted in some rain damage, but ultimately it began with the wind. So
Thank you.
we're working with Mr. Brian Hood, who's absolutely great to work with. He's a DPI adjuster. Submitted all the paperwork and photos and scope by Pico.
Thank you.
We just want to say great job to Ms. Pierce and the South North team. Great job to the maintenance team, Mr. Outlaw and his team, and Emmett and Larry and those guys. They just did an amazing job down there, from everything from responding to this to the indirect stuff like moving all the food from the freezer to over to other schools for safekeeping until power was restored.
That mitigated a lot of loss, Mr. Smith, because typically in years past when we've had these types of events, it's been $20,000, $30,000 in child nutrition loss. But Ms. Smith notified us right away when she got their alert. Now she gets alert on their cell phones when there's any type of power outages. So we were able to respond quickly.
I'd like to thank Mr. Williams too for keeping us updated on what was going on there with the pictures and the progress that was going on.
All right, any more questions? Mr. Harvey? Any more comments? Thank you, Mr. Harvey, for that update. And as you said, numerous projects and initiatives in progress that will benefit the Laurel County Public School System. Chair recognizes Mrs. Helen Hooker to present the September 2023 financial report.
Good evening. For your review tonight is the September 2023 financial report. The report summarizes budget and year-to-date activity for all Lenoir County Board of Education funds as of September 30, 2023. Additionally, the report presents the unadjusted local current expense fund balance as of September 30, 2023. If you've had a chance to review the report and you have any questions, I'll be happy to address them for you.
Any questions for Mrs. Hooker? Any comments? All right, thank you, Mrs. Hooker, for that report.
Thank you.
We will now move to the action portion of the agenda. Chair recognizes Mrs. Herring to present a state field trip request.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Woodington Middle School would like to take their 8th grade annual trip this year to Busch Gardens in Williamsburg, Virginia on November 11th, 2023. It's actually going to be a Saturday trip, so they won't be missing any instruction. We'd like to ask you to make the trip.
Any question, Mrs. Herring? All right, thank you, Mrs. Herring. Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to the Woodington field trip? Motion by Mrs. Cash. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Woods. We have a motion by Mrs. Cash and a second by Mr. Wood to approve the out-of-state field trip request as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, Chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Mrs. Herring, please notify Woodington.
Certainly will. That'll be very good.
Chair recognizes Mr. Nick Harvey to present a proposed contract for architectural design services for the E.B. Frank Middle School project.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Attached is a negotiated contract between LCPS and SFLA, our chosen architect for the Frank Middle School. This contract would only go into effect when, and notice I say when, not if, we receive the NCDPI school facility grant that should be released later this month. This keeps LCPS within the necessary budget range, at the same time provides the citizens of LaGrange with a new school that will be a centerpiece for that great community. And yes, Mr. Anderson, it comes fully equipped with the media center. This contract has been vetted and approved to seek your authority to move forward tonight with the, been approved by Tharrington Smith to seek your authority to move forward tonight with an affirmative vote.
And it's a nice media center too.
I'll entertain any questions you may have.
Actually, you all will have substantial, if we get the grant, then we'll go into the planning cycle for the fine details, and you'll have an opportunity to really plan, choose, and we'll bring school people in to choose things like you're building a house, choose colors, paint wallpaper and countertops and all that kind of stuff. So we can choose that, but we had to have, for the grant purposes, a rough idea of what it would be and cost, so that's what we've done.
Any questions
The
for
grant
Mr. Harvey, Mr. Anderson?
the grant hasn't dropped yet. The delay has been the state budget because the funds for the grant are in the state budget. And they waited for that. So now we're anticipating, we were thinking it would drop in July. We've actually been working on it since March. So we've written the research paper before the teacher has assigned it, but we're trying to be the first ones to turn in the paper, if you will. So, and get first in the queue for consideration. So we, thinking normally it drops in July and they announce the results by first week of September. We're thinking with that timeline he's talking about later in October it would, so due at the end of November, early December, probably maybe a great Christmas present notification or early January post-Christmas celebration, I hope.
This is the firm that during their presentation was talking about cutting out media centers.
The subcommittee took care of that.
But it isn't, if you look at the contract, it is in the contract.
This is the same firm.
It is the same firm.
They have different types of things, just like the car lot. They've got some options over there, and you've got some options over here. So they were looking at the sports car over here. It doesn't have much room. We're in the minivan over here. We're choosing. It's got plenty of room for everybody. We can carry everybody. It's got a third seat.
Yes, Mr. King.
Do we have a potential planned visit from them again? I thought we were going to get together maybe early to mid-September, and we haven't.
We were, but the reason that we were going to meet got worked out because there were some serious budgetary concerns. Namely, and I'll just say it, we weren't coming in under the grant amount. We weren't coming in that, and that from you all at the beginning has been a non-negotiable from our subcommittee that we need to build the school for the amount allotted in the grant. And we're now there, and I want to thank all the members of the subcommittee for their work on that, and thank architect Robbie Ferris too, and Rod Malone and Sharon Lynn from there. They worked really, really hard, and we've had a series of meetings to try to get that back down and get it within range. And I'm very proud of what you see in there, the projected budget right now, because it is within the constraints of the grant, and we're still building a great school. From this point on, the committee's going to need to have several meetings now and into submitting the grant, because we have some decisions too about recommending to the board, because we'll bring that grant together and then we'll share it with our board of commissioners and want to seek their partnership on it before moving forward. Because right now it's still officially not a thing until we write the grant. All of this preliminary work has been great, but the application hasn't even dropped yet. So We've just been telling, verbally sharing with commissioners, Board of Commissioners members at the county level, and the town manager, John Crafton LaGrange, and the new town manager, Condon, interim manager. I spoke with him today, and we're meeting next week, I think, to talk about details of trying to keep all parties on board and informed to the degree that we can yet, realizing there's really not even a grant to share yet. But we're on that plane, and we're hoping to give everybody a tour of the plane and let everybody fly next month.
Any more questions for Mr. Harvey or Mr. Williams? Thank you, Mr. Harvey and Mr. Williams. Recommendation or motion pertaining to the proposed contract for architectural design services.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. King. We have a motion by Mr. Smith and a second by Mr. King to approve the proposed contract for architectural design services for E.B. Frink Middle School as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, chair will call for all in favor of the motion as stated. Please signify by raising your hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries 7-0. Mr. Harvey, certainly notify SFLA of this decision.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Ms. White to present the bid for the South Lenore Fire Alarm System replacement.
Good evening. My name is Charles White, and I am Director of Technology for Lenore County Public Schools. So 6 years ago, we did an evaluation of the aging alarm systems within our school district. Of that evaluation, the top 3 schools were identified based on age, issues, and compliance. Last month, I presented the winning bid for the replacement of the fire system at South Lenore High School. Tonight, I'm asking for your approval to move forward with that project. I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions for Mr. White? Okay, thank you, Mr. White.
Yes, sir.
Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to the fire alarm replacement?
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Woods. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Outlaw Starkey. We have a motion by Mr. Woods, second by Dr. Outlaw Starkey to approve the bid for the fire alarm system replacement at South Lenore High School as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, chair will vote. All in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries 7-0. Mr. White, please notify Downey's Protector.
Yes, sir.
Chair recognizes Mr. Brent Williams to present the North Carolina School Association policies to lead the school policy revisions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The policies that that you see tonight have been presented and are coming back for your consideration and your approval.
Any question for Mr. Williams? All right, thank you, Mr. Williams. Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to the policy revisions? Motion by Mr. Anderson. Is there a
Second.
second by Mr. Smith? Got a motion by Mr. Anderson and a second by Mr. Smith to approve the North Carolina School Board Association policy revisions as presented. Any discussion? Not hearing none, chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries 7-0. Mr. Williams will incorporate the revisions in our board policy. Chair recognizes Mr. Nick Harvey to present surplus items.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The attached items tonight are from our CTE department, and they are submitted for your approval to be deemed surplus. Any proceeds derived from the sale shall be returned to their department. And tonight you have book discards.
All right, any questions for Mr. Harvey? All right, thank you, Mr. Harvey. Is there a motion or motion pertaining to surplus?
Motion.
I'm sorry. Ms. Cash, motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Outlaw Starkey. We have a motion by Mrs. Cash and a second by Dr. Outlaw Starkey to approve the surplus as presented. Any discussion? Not hearing none, chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries 7-0. Y'all scare me on these surplus items. Y'all act like y'all want to keep them or something. All right, thank you, Mr. Harvey.
Thank you.
All right, is there a recommendation pertaining to closed session.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Chairman, the Board of Education enter into closed session under North Carolina General Statute 143-3811 to prevent the disclosure of confidential personnel files, to consult with the board's attorney to consider attorney-client privilege, and to consider matters relating to the initial employment of an individual employee.
Motion by Mr. Anderson, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Outlaw Starkey. Motion by Mr. Anderson, and second by Dr. Outlaw Starkey to move to closed session. Any discussion? Not hearing none, chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion, as stated, by raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries 7-0. We are now in closed session. Thank you. Okay, chair recognizes that the Lenore County can open session. Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to the monthly personnel recommendations?
Move to approve the personnel report with the addendum.
A motion by Mr. Smith. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Woods. Motion by Mr. Smith and second by Mr. Woods to approve the monthly personnel recommendations with the addendum as presented. Any discussion? Chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 7-0. Mr. Williams, please notify the employees of the actions. Any other?
Where do we stand on our evaluations? We had a good response.
So, yes, there's a packet right here I got tonight. And so
Okay.
we have, I don't know how many responses we got or anything, so. Did the board members bring theirs tonight?
I did.
Yeah.
So we'll collect those afterwards, and then we'll see. So you know, if you look in your email and you saw that situation, you know, this is actually a step process, and the first step, of course, is to get the vaccine, and that's where we started. So we probably need to talk at some point about the process of how we're going to go about doing this.
Okay, when do you want?
Well, that process is a 12-month process. So, Carolyn, since we've already done this year's for the superintendent, how are we going to manage to coincide this with this past year? If you're just talking about a process of 12 months.
That's for the board to decide. I mean, I think the last meeting you all decided you wanted to get input and be evaluated. You were going to do a self-assessment where you each completely evaluate the board individually, take feedback from stakeholders within the district, and then you were going to have a meeting where you developed a final review. So I think you had said sometime in November, but I'm wrong about that.
So
We did.
I sent you an email last night.
Yep.
I think I sent it to you because I read where it said something about somebody compiling it, and I said I couldn't remember if I was supposed to send it to you or not. Was I supposed to send it to you?
I don't think so.
Okay. I didn't know who was supposed to compile it, but I just said
I don't think that deadline had, I don't know, was that a deadline? You said a deadline was when you were going to get responses back from stakeholders. I don't recall, honestly, if you had set a deadline for yourselves.
So who will be compiling the results?
Well, that's what you decide to.
Yeah.
We actually need an independent person.
I mean, we certainly can for you if you would like us to.
Why don't Mr. Anderson and I have a meeting and then we'll discuss about the process? Can we do that since you're vice chair? We don't have a committee that come in.
Well, let's do personnel.
Personnel. Okay, we'll do a personnel committee then. All right. Can we do that,
Do
Mr.
what now?
Williams?
Sure.
Okay, so we'll call a personnel meeting and we'll see if we can come up with a plan, and we'll contact other board members and let them know.
So you think you can do that in the next 2 weeks?
In
In the next 2 weeks? Thank you.
personnel, well, I'm gonna be here next week. Okay.
Are we going to collect these tonight? That's what we need.
Yes, you can, if you want to turn them over right there.
But you still think we could get that done the next 2 weeks, even though you're not going to be here next week?
We could certainly try, yes. We could have a personnel committee meeting, probably could do that this week.
Oh, you have to have 48-hour notice for a meeting?
Personnel
Subcommittee, if it's a board subcommittee, those are subject to the open meetings laws and also need to be noticed.
Okay, we can get together with the personnel, members on the personnel committee and see if we can come up with a date. Okay. All right,
Mr.
remember-
Anderson, Mr. Woods,
Yeah.
Mr. Hill.
Personnel is Mr. Hill, Mr. Anderson, and Mr. Woods.
Okay. Just to come before this board. All right, is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to amendment? Is there a second?
Second.
We got a motion by Mr. Anderson and a second by Dr. Outlaw Starkey to adjourn the October 2nd, 2023 regular monthly board meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none, chair will call for the vote. All in favor, stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Please stay safe.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.